Just to give you a clue tonight, every member of the team is Viva Explorers, and let's bring them on board. And here we go, guys. Hi, everybody. Woo! And Marine's showing off his Viva Explorer, so he's actually got his hat the right way round tonight, which is good news.
For once.
All right, so we have different people, you probably noticed. So let's do a quick intro. And Kevin's got a whiskey. You saw that. We know he's a whiskey guy. I have no idea what it was. It was something called Man of the World or something. Is that what it was?
It was the Man of Swords from the Annandale Brewery, which I happened to just go past in Scotland and went, oh, there's not a brewery, a distillery there. Let's go and have a look.
Near Glasgow?
Near Dumfries.
Okay, I'm fairly certain that you passed my barrel because I have a barrel out of there.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
I would have had a taster if I'd known that.
Yeah, it's still not whiskey yet. It's only 2.5 years old, but it will be in 7 or 8 months' time. So that's cool. So yeah, that's Kevin. Why don't you give your 30-second elevator pitch? Off you go.
So first, Microsoft MVP and Microsoft 365. I'm going to take the hat off because it's far too hot with that on, even though Viva is still the hot topic that it is. My day job, I work at Avanade, global Microsoft partner, where I'm the Copilot strategy and modern workplace AI lead, which is still a mouthful, and I can only get out now before I've started on too much of that whiskey.
That is true. Cool. Well, welcome, Kevin, to It Depends. Sarah! Woo!
Hello. Hi, so for everyone I've not met before, my name's Sarah Fenner. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. Other side, it's always the camera that gets it the wrong way around, and also a Microsoft MVP. Yeah, so I focus most of my time on training across Microsoft 365, also a Viva Explorer, hence the hat, and I'm quite excited about this evening.
You accused me of having the label still on the hat. Lift that hat up again. No modifier. Still got the label.
Dear me.
To be fair,
negative points.
To be fair, I have the label on the hat because my real hat is packed to go on holiday at the end of this week. So I had to get a spare one out of the box. I have some ready for Comsverse this year.
Nice. All right.
You take the hat on holiday. Do you sleep with it or what?
No, you have to have, where in the world is Viva?
In lots of different places. Exactly, Kevin. Where in the world has the hat been?
Wow. Okay. So where is the hat going next?
South Africa.
South Africa.
Ooh,
there you go. So if you're ever in one of Sarah's classes and she says, where's the hat been? And you're watching this program, you've got the insight. It's in South Africa. All right. And Moren's back as always. How you doing, brother?
I am very good. And I actually have a reason to wear the hat because I just came back from the gym and the shower and my hair is all fluffy and messy. So I decided to wear a hat.
Yeah, you always have a hat. It's your thing on It Depends. All right.
Maybe it should be a thing. Yes.
It is a thing. I think every episode you've had a hat on, except you normally had it the other way around.
True. Yes.
That's because you're trying to make yourself look younger as you get slightly more grayer in the beard.
Yeah.
It'll take more than that.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah, okay. All right. Do you guys want to see the question?
Yes.
For sure, because you've never seen it before, have you?
No.
I've forgotten it already, so it's fine.
There you go. So we are going to talk about security, or specifically, we're going to talk about protecting our content in a different kind of way, but protecting sensitive data and unauthorized access. How will you protect sensitive data and unauthorized access? And the rules are quite simple. We have got a number of reasons and ways that we can protect our data and unauthorized access. They all chose an answer to the question earlier from the list we had, and they're going to speak for 2.5 minutes, tell us all about it and why they believe their particular subject is correct. And then we're going to discuss So you have some experts in the game tonight, and we will see how we go. And the first up is Kevin, because Kevin was the last person to respond to the question this evening. And so we're going to say goodbye to Sarah. Moraine, always good to get rid of you, brother. There you go. Woo. All right. Yeah. So you're in. Let's just give you the question. And your question answer was enforcing multi-factor authentication. All right. So here you go. You have 2.5 minutes. And if I can press the go button here, then you are on your way, sir.
Well, it's pretty simple, isn't it? We can talk about kind of blocking access from different people, keeping internal the organization. But if you want to stop people getting in, you got to get away from this world of just passwords. You've got to stop that because passwords leak. I've got all sorts of post-it notes here, not with passwords, I should say, but it's easy to happen. These passwords get reused, they can be cracked. Bringing in multi-factor authentication is one of the simplest things you can do to get all users getting moving with it. You protect that outer layer and you stop people getting in. It's kind of as simple as that. Well, it depends. It kind of is. The reality is you've also got to train people, educate them about MFA, make sure they understand what it is, decide on your policies on how often you've got to redo that as well. So it's not just a case of turning things on, as with most things, as with many things at the moment. You could just turn it on, but you're going to get a lot of unhappy users. So you've got to make sure you educate them. You talk about what it is, because if you make it easy for people to be secure, they're more likely to do it. If you make it hard, if you make them go through these hoops, all they're going to do is go and use Dropbox or try and use something else which isn't secure and you haven't put your policies around. So turn on MFA, educate people that it doesn't have to be about getting damn SMSs. You can't get it on your watch. You used to be able to approve on your watch. You can now do it with your face. Even one as ugly as mine, you can approve in seconds in there. Give the access to the right thing. And you can put different levels. You could get your secure information to also require that MFA. So you can protect not just your outer layer, but your inner areas within that as well. You can prevent those inner areas from being penetrated too. So you can bring this, stop people being stupid, educate them in the right thing, teach them how they can use their apps, how they can bring that security. And yeah, you're going to get some noise. You're going to get people complaining, but whatever you do, you're going to get that. So make sure you engage them nice and early, bring them forward on why you're doing this, give them plenty of warning, make it happen, and you can make your area completely secure to the right thing as well from there.
There you're done. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. I enjoyed that. That was quite cool. I've actually
I much prefer being on the other side of this.
You do? No pressure then.
Hosting's much easier.
All right. So for that basically means the other two here, they are going to give you a score. So if you go to the private chat, guys, and just give me your number out of 5.
And I can see what they put as well.
All right. I've counted how many times he says it depends. So we got a few bonus points there. He suddenly remembered halfway through. Oh, I can use the word "it depends," so that was cool. I wasn't sure whether it was really about enforcing multi-factor authentication or whether it was really about passwordless login.
It's the same thing.
The same thing. Do you want your bonus question?
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
here's your bonus question. So, and this is, I think, is a really cool one. How do you balance governance with employee productivity? How do you balance governance with employee productivity? And of course, the immediate answer is
it depends.
That's another checkbox. Got it.
But I think with this, it's you should. I've had so many people go, oh, let's not do security, let's not do governance. And so many people are going, right, this is the most important thing. We have to put everything there. It's a balance with these things. It's making an active decision as to what matters, not just putting layers and layers in. Because if you do that, there's nothing to it. So how do you do it with the actual question? I think for me, it's making sure that you educate people into why you're doing it. So, and you listen to people as to what they want to get done. If you understand what people are trying to do from what they're trying to achieve from day to day, not necessarily measuring productivity. We all know that doesn't really work. We've got some lovely. Sorry, hang on. We've got some lovely Viva tools to help measure productivity, but they only kind of give you a little benchmark from that. So it's also about how you kind of evaluate, how you engage with people, how do you get to what matters to them, and make sure you layer governance in with that. I always love.
You know, when we invited you to the show, Kevin, did you think it was going to be your show, or are you going to let one or two other people get a word in edgeways?
No. There's no point.
All right. So, in one sentence, how do you balance governance with employee productivity?
See, no one else is saying anything.
No, you don't. You don't. You don't. You can't.
It depends. You've got to consider the business needs to get the right configuration for your governance tools to ensure that it fits with what your employees need to get done.
Yes, so but if you're going to impose governance, then employee productivity will always suffer at least just a little bit.
Yeah, so it's a balance.
So the answer in one sentence might have been,
it depends.
About how much you want to piss your users off and what you can get away with.
Yes.
That too.
Do you want to drive them somewhere else? No, you want to keep them there, make it easy to do what they need to do.
What if,
in the right way?
The business
all in the right bucket.
Refuses to work with MFA? Refuses.
Well, you just turn it on. They can't not.
You just sit there and go, tough luck. Yeah. You've got no choice.
You're always going to get awkward people. You know, we've got Maureen here, for example.
Do you MFA, Maureen?
I MFA a lot. Yes, every day, twice at least. Yes.
I'm thinking
it's a sexy MFA.
Sarah?
I was just saying, MFA more after a trip.
I think it is a balance. Marin and I have been working through this just recently, where we untrusted a network. And so all of a sudden, everybody that was used to going into a building and into a trusted environment are now in an untrusted network, in that what we did was we wanted to make wherever they logged in with their laptop the same. So if they're at home, of course, 2/3 of the time potentially, or 3/5 of the time. And then all of a sudden they had to use MFA because some people never logged in at home because they were the workers. And then it was, well, I'm not going to use my personal phone for this. And so we had to kind of go through a process of saying, okay, how can we get you to multi-factor authentication? Because Kevin did lose a point for not actually explaining what MFA was. Then multi-factor authentication, we used a device. So we gave everybody a little YubiKey that had to get plugged in that did not want to use their own phone. And so they had the disadvantage of 2 devices, but they just refused point blank.
And that's a fair point about using your personal device. I can see that argument. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, because I think it's fine to impose MFA because you are at a job where you're getting paid to do your stuff, and this is the way how we do stuff. So if we impose MFA, you need to do that, but we can't make you work on your own personal things. Those are your personal things. So if we want you to do MFA, we need to provide you with some tool to actually do that. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's valid. The other counter question I have on this then, and maybe I'm going to get Sarah to respond to this as an MCT and a trainer here. So what if users say the password's too long? Would you actually shorten the passwords because that's what the business needs? Or are they just now used to doing, passwords, and therefore they don't even complain anymore? They put it in. So when it comes to MFA, it's just a way of saying, hey, it's just one more level. And of course, they're used to it, aren't they? They get codes all the time for logging into this service and the other service. Maureen disagrees, but that's Sarah's going to answer first.
I think there's a lot that as users we get used to. So to start with, early on in my career, I had to fight with people to use a different location to save their files other than the default My Documents. And now it's something that we just accept. So as technology changes, as we move forward as users, we've got to learn to adapt. But it does really depend on the scenario and the feature that you're talking about and how you're introducing things, what the best way to get your users used to the product is and the feature.
Yeah, I think and that's what Kevin was saying as well, that, it's about getting people used to it. Maureen, last word on this question.
Yeah, so I think it depends, because if your users are giving you so many help desk calls because they forgot their super long password and they can't remember it, then it really hinders employee productivity. So then you might need to rethink.
Bitwarden, LastPass, make it easy, safely
Yeah, I
easy.
still need to use that. Yeah, I posted this on Twitter a few weeks ago, asking how people keep all their logons, and people were saying that a password thingy would help. So I need to.
Yeah. No, do that. Then it doesn't matter how long it is. It's there in the right place. My whole family now uses Bitwarden, so they've found it easy. And I don't get the stupid. What's my password here?
Bitwarden, got it. All right, got that sorted out. What about passwordless?
Can I add one last one? Make sure you put MFA on each environment you have. So if you've got a dev, a test, also have MFA there. Don't go, it's dev, it's okay. If you catch me for a whiskey, I'll explain why I say that from bitter experience, but make sure you do it.
But can you actually turn it off these days? I mean, isn't it like mandatory?
It depends on your subscription.
It depends on your subscription. I like it. Go on, give us the facts, Sarah.
MFA is enforced through conditional access now. So if you've got a subscription that includes the full conditional access functionality, your Entra ID P2, then you can, if you really.
That assumes you're using Entra as your ID manager.
Yes.
Cool.
So it does depend on your subscription and your ID management tool.
Good.
Gotcha.
All right. I think that was a pretty cool look at multi-factor authentication, which I guess is probably what we would call a de facto tool, or at least a de facto level 2 tool for protecting access. It's really protecting access into your information. It's not really, into your system rather than specific access into your information. And of course, nowadays it's, with a third-party tool or with Entra being used on other third-party applications, it also is a single sign-on. It protects that identity rather than access to that content. All righty, cool. And as Maureen was talking about help desk tickets and working out where you're getting a response from your users, that brings us into the second question about monitoring, in this case, responding to security alerts. And it's Sarah's turn. So, bye, Kevin. Woohoo. Bye, Maureen. Ciao. All righty. So here we go. So you're new, your first time. So you've got 2.5 minutes to actually work out. I need to reset that clock. All right. And make your case. Off you go.
Well, it's all well and good protecting access to your data, but you don't know what problems you've got unless you are monitoring your environment. So to get a full idea of what it depends on, you need to know what problems you're facing. So by using your security alerts, which are responding to the configuration of your tools, then you're going to have a really good idea of what the problems are and what you're trying to protect against. So we can build a room with lots of security in it. The most secure room in the world has no doors or windows, but unless you allow access, it's not a useful tool. So we need to know at what level we're going to allow that access. So we configure the product, we make some decisions, but unless we monitor the alerts that are coming up and adapt the configuration of our environments in response to what we're finding, we're really not going to have that security and that protected environment. And there are lots of different tools we can use for this. Obviously, lots of alerts across Microsoft Defender from a sensitive data perspective, also across Microsoft Purview. We've got Defender for Cloud apps that we can bring in. We've also got the insider risk management tool and the alerts from that we can start bringing in as well. So we can get a really, really rich image, a really rich picture of what our users are up to. And then, depending on exactly how you want to monitor your data, we can manage that configuration and keep it nice and neat and tidy. So your response to security, it really depends on exactly what you need to protect, how your users are working, what challenges you're facing. And by using those alerts, investigating them properly and responding to them, you get that really rich picture to respond to. So response-driven security is the best option. That's my argument.
Look at that. I love the way you started to slow down when you realized that, oh, I'm coming to the end and I've still got some time left.
I always start fast and slow down. That's just the way I speak. That's my excuse, and I am sticking to it like glue.
No problem.
I'm so glad you said speak.
That was pretty cool. Actually, I liked that. I liked that a lot. That was to the point. But you really need to start sticking your notes by your camera instead of by the side of you. But that's all right.
I don't actually have notes. I was just I always look to the side.
Oh, okay. Oh, it doesn't matter. That's what I made the assumption of. But that was good. So yes, monitor and respond to security alerts. I kind of particularly liked that, I have to say, to give you some insight into what's actually happening with your environment. So that's good. All right, guys, in this case, Moraine and Kevin, you can use the private chat to give me your score out of 5. And of course, the downside of the fact that Kevin's already gone, he can now get his revenge because he now knows what they scored him. But there you are. We're doing this for fun, not really. But of course, I don't know whether you realize, Kevin, but if you lose, you do realize you owe us a bottle of whiskey each.
Well.
Yeah, and I'm the scorekeeper, so there might be slight bias.
But I lost 3 times already.
I know. Have you not got your IOUs through yet?
Can you get balls in Wiesbaden?
It's still got the sticker in there.
Yeah, but when you pour whiskey into it, it falls out the gap at the back. All right. Let's take a look at the bonus question for Sarah. So, and I love this. All right. I think this is one of the best questions we've come up with for a while. So, is data security all about the settings? And the answer is, Sarah?
Oh, well, of course, the answer is it depends.
It depends. There we go with another line against Sarah's name.
No, in all seriousness, though, I think there's a lot to consider about business procedures, user behaviors. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of the security problems are picnic errors. The problem is in the chair, not in the computer.
Oh, nice. I'm bonus point. I like that.
Well, what about standing desks? That doesn't work.
Well, then it's a standing picnic. I don't know. I need a new acronym.
Well, actually, you apparently it's better for your digestion if you're standing when you're eating.
The Romans were lying down.
That is true.
And are they still around? Just saying.
Well, technically, Kevin, yes, because there are still people who live in Rome.
Yeah, that is a good point.
So, but let's get specific on this. Is data security all about the settings? I guess, at no point me saying it depends. I get no bonus points. But in some respects, it actually is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about what you hear from people and what they want, but you've got to apply those settings for it to work as well. So you're listening to what people want, applying the settings related to that. So if you don't configure any settings, it's all looking good because obviously the default that's set up by Microsoft is not the most secure on there, sadly.
Yeah, but is it secure enough?
It depends.
All right, I may give you that one. So, but let's go back. So here's the reason I asked the question. So I don't know. You all have personal tenants, I'm guessing. All right. How many of you have readjusted the security settings other than maybe enabling MFA? Of course. Oh, Kevin was late there. Sarah said yes, so I better say yes.
Not as much as I should, but yes.
Yeah. So who's enabled conditional access on their tenant? You're just so clever, lady. All right, I get it. But there's only you that needs to worry about it. You don't have to actually.
I can't.
No, she needed to do that for her MCT courses. So
I was going to say it's just training testing. That doesn't count.
So, but let's go back to the fact which I think we're getting at here and what Sarah was alluding to. There are processes associated around this and not just settings. So, I mean, yes, if I'm going to roll out OneDrive, there's a set of governance rules that I need to decide upon around how long I keep stuff if somebody leaves the organization, what rules I'm going to have about sharing and things. So that's all settings, but somebody needed to decide up front that, hey, look, we're going to share stuff, but we want them to authenticate their email address before they can actually see the content. You know, that's one of those policies, and that's not all about the settings. It's the settings are driven by those policies that you put into place.
It's also, if I configure sensitivity labels, I've got to encourage my users to use them unless I've got a method of applying them automatically. But it's not necessarily all about the settings.
No, I agree. So is it all about change then, Maureen?
Of course. if there's not a setting, then how can we manage it? How can we control it? So there's change involved.
It depends.
It depends.
Thank you. I was just wondering that. Yeah, I've given Maureen an opportunity here and he missed it all end. That's no good. Guys, this is really weird, but I'm going to pause it for 2 seconds.
Important.
And we're back. No, it's fine. I already know what the offer was. So just a case of whether to put the offer up anymore. For those that don't know, I'm selling my house. If you want to come and see it, it's still available. No, that's fine. Yes, so the phone rings and I've turned it over now. All right, good. So yes, we kind of came to the conclusion that very much it's about policies around these things. So then my next question is, do you define the policies before you turn on your tenant?
It depends.
He's so good at this. Not as good as Sarah, but there you are. But actually, I don't think it does depend. So I'm going to take that one away. I honestly think.
No, I think because you want to have a conversation, you know, and it depends where you are in the cycle with people. You're very rarely going to be that turning it on from the beginning. You want to show people things you want to see. You want to actively have that conversation and view some of it with people. So that's where I say it depends. The more you can, you know, I still think the default settings should be a lot stricter than they are, but that are turned on. It's about 30%, isn't it? The default secure score. That's crazy. Why are you not turning on the extra things more and more?
But that's because of your bonus question, isn't it? I mean, how do you balance government with employee productivity? If Microsoft said, hey, we're going to tighten it up from day one, how are the people that have never used it before going to actually understand what they can and can't do? Or from a competitiveness perspective, so you're never going to tighten things up from the beginning without being able to explain it, surely.
I think you also need to consider, Kevin, the organization type that we're talking about, because I think the configuration that you go with as your default depends on the type of organization that you're talking to. You know, your two-man small consultancy company or window cleaners are going to want different configurations to each other, and they're going to want very different configurations to an enterprise as well.
Yeah, they are going to need to change their domain though. For window cleaners at onmicrosoft.com, they're going to need some professional help to get away from that domain. But it's right, isn't it? If somebody calls and says, hey, we're going to go to Microsoft 365, if there's anybody left that hasn't already done it, then, you know, as consultants, we're going to charge them for actually getting their governance right. So it's all about the bottom line, isn't it?
I would say though, I would
saying it depends first.
I get no points from there, but there you go.
I would say that if you're looking at window cleaners, defragmenting, that's the best way to do it. So I couldn't resist.
I like that. That's good. All right. Moreno, are you all set, mate?
I am, yes.
Now, the question is, did you choose this question just because it had the word penetration in it?
Absolutely.
Okay, I guessed. I knew you would. Yes. All right. So I'm looking forward to 2.5 minutes here. This is where Kevin says, I hope my boss doesn't look at this. He'll think I'm on a porn show. But
do we have sensitivity labels here? Can we
can we apply those?
Yeah. Yeah.
We do have a safe word if you want.
Yeah.
Is it Viva?
Yeah.
Pineapple. Yeah.
Viva. All right. So yeah. Bye, everybody else. So Sarah and Kevin, ciao. All right, my friend. This is your opportunity. We've got newbies on the show. This is your chance to move from last position to one above the other. So, you know, and don't let them know that I said it. All right. But I've already given you a bonus 3 points. No, I didn't really. Oh, they can hear me. Oh, no. Fair and square. If Moraine wins,
all right, come on, bring it.
Bring it on. Here we go.
Yes.
All right, brother. So regular security penetration testing. Let me just reset the video, and we are off. Whoops. Good. Enjoy.
All right. Now I need to talk for 2.5 minutes about penetration. That is longer than I normally last. So that's going to be quite a challenge. But that's fine. It's fine because penetration testing is one thing. The main thing is do regular security assessments. That's the main thing. My good friend and friend of the podcast that I do with Steve and friend of the It Depends show, Mr. Vladimir Lenin, once said, trust is good, but control is better. So every once in a while, control what you need to do. Control if it works perfectly, if it works like you want. Do an assessment of your governance, do an assessment of your employee productivity. Use the tool like Defender, like Sarah said, to handle these assessments. But do these assessments every once in a while. How often? I don't care. It depends on what you define for your governance. Could be monthly, could be 3 monthly, whatever. It depends. It depends on your business, depends on what you want to do. Because what our good friend Lenin.
How many times have you said it depends? Because I keep losing track.
No, that's fine. Because our good friend Lenin did not only say trust is good, but control is better. He also said control is good, but trust is cheaper. Because that's also a point. If you want to do a thorough security assessment and a good old-fashioned penetration test, then it will cost you money. Get some white hat hackers or some whatever to do some proper penetration and see what that means. And I'm running out of things to say, but just do it. It's penetration. Do it. Just do it. Like Mr. Nike says, every so often, do a thorough assessment. Do it with different people. See if they turn on MFA. But make them know that you're doing this, that you're actively monitoring it, and that you're working on it, that you're testing it, that you're making changes, so that people know that you're actually busy and you're actually doing something instead of just leaning back in your chair and just having some automated PowerShell scripts run everything for you. But that's just between you and me. So control is good, trust is cheaper.
You went over your time.
Sorry.
There we go, everybody. It was all above board, of course. I was making. It was quite funny watching Sarah's face in the background going.
Only penetration above the waist. Excellent.
Yes, that's exactly it. You've been working on that one, haven't you? Yes, that's true. Which brings us into a completely different ball game. But let's not go there. All right, Sarah, I want to apologise, but it is funny. It's funny. There you go. All right, good.
So I'm reading Egypt vibes. What is Egypt vibes?
You were just disappearing onto random topics there, trying to fill time. So
I already marked him down. I gave in on the last line. I thought he's now just looking at this thing going, how long do I need? In fact, at one point I thought, shall I pause it and see how long he works out that it's not moving anymore? But that was okay, guys. So private chat. If you give me Moraine's score, then I'll put that on the list as well. But yeah, that was good. The only thing I nearly marked you down on, and then you did actually explain about how white hat testing and black hat testing and stuff like this. But maybe we should, just before we go on to the bonus question, is talk about what definition do we have of penetration testing. So what actually is it? Just in case our readers have never, or listeners have never heard of it before.
Well, it's about somebody outside that should not have access to your environment, that they are trying to get access to your environment.
Yeah. Okay. Any other definitions that people want to think about? Maybe some examples?
I'm just not touching it.
That's a wise lady. So let's talk about phishing emails then. All right. So phishing emails is a form of testing that we often do, where you're basically opening up the door for people to kind of try and get into, as Moraine says, into your systems. And there are various ways of kind of stopping them. But it also ties into the presentation that Sarah did about monitoring and responses. So there are various ways of knowing whether people are trying to hit your firewalls with denial of service attacks or anything else, and whether they fall over or not.
And that's generally, isn't it? Penetration testing. It's looking for open ports. It's trying to find areas like that. It's the automated testing, and you kind of shouldn't need to do that because Microsoft does it for you. And I kind of get if you're looking at Azure and you're opening up different ports there, but when it comes to Microsoft 365. You don't need to. It's done there for Microsoft, and Microsoft has some pretty strict guidance on how you would do it if you're bringing a third party to check things, because they don't want you breaking the system for everyone else by hammering it with denial of service to see how it copes with denial of service. So there's a certain amount of trust you put into Microsoft that they do that. And you can see reports of what they've done, but I wouldn't penetrate test Microsoft 365.
Thank you, Kevin, for answering my bonus question.
Yeah, I've just seen that pop up halfway through. I was like, oh, whoops.
Well, okay, that's valid. But what happens when you change the default settings? So you're then saying you don't trust Microsoft. So what if you want to bring conditional access in? I mean, yes, you may well be building it on there, but also you're opening stuff up to be able to get to specific things in specific ways.
Well, then you're testing specific challenges, aren't you?
Say it again, sorry.
Then you're testing for specific vulnerabilities. Yep. You're not generally testing the whole tool.
Yeah.
And anyway, conditional access goes back to Moraine's point that trust is cheaper.
Yes, that is. It was very, very cool. Who do we have to thank for that at all, Moraine? Did you have that quote?
Oh, good friend of the show, Vladimir Lenin.
You had a chat with him earlier today and told him, yeah, I get it.
But you say it's cheaper. It depends your risk that goes on. If something goes very wrong, that could be really expensive. So it does depend.
It does. I think that there's certain value in the fact that you take a cloud service, and it's not just Microsoft, of course. All of these cloud services nowadays have their reputation to deliver. Making sure that they are secure and they are safe. I think last figures I heard, Microsoft have about 26,000 people just looking at the security of their Microsoft 365 environment. And of course, they're also doing white hat penetration as well. on their own right, basically trying to find out where those gaps and those things are. But there are areas that are weak.
Although I heard a story about the new guy that they put in charge of the big threat center, that was the guy that was previously at Twitter doing the I forgot what it was called, but it was like looking at Russian state hackers, but it was all a hoax, just keeping them occupied, stuff like that.
I always think it's the dividing line between a true hacker that wants to do bad and a hacker that wants to do good. You know, there's I have all these great tools now. Today I'm going to be a bad boy, and tomorrow I'm going to be a good boy, depending who's paying me the most money. But that's maybe just my overactive imagination and reading James Bond books. But there you go. All righty, cool. So anything else that we want to talk about from Moraine's bonus question? Whilst I just sit here and put in the totals on the scores in the doors.
I think to Steve thinking, I think the value is trust. And if you've got an organization, you know, there's large organizations, banks especially, who have done penetration tests on every other system, they expect to be able to do on that. That is the only value, is to kind of keep that trust going. I don't think it's needed, and you should have that sensible, open conversation with them. But that's where it may be. And I would say, certainly if you're a large organization, speak with Microsoft, get them to kind of share things. They will be able to share certain amounts of information around what they've done. So use that, because they do have people bring it in there properly.
You do also have the reports inside the Trust Center as well that you can review, that are available if you're a Microsoft 365 subscriber. But I would say the value does very much depend on the size of organization, the type of organization you are, and the level of trust that and risk that you face in your organization. So
I love the way that you try to muck up Steve's points there, just sneaking.
I was trying very hard not to say it depends exactly as it depends, not to mess him up, but yeah, it does depend. Do I get 3 extra for that one?
I've already totaled them up now. There's no extra. So this is the question of the day. How will you protect sensitive data and prevent unauthorized access? And of course, we only talked about small areas of it. There are many others, but here we go, guys, with the points. Drum roll, please. There we go. So that's not right. I did actually make a mistake. So there is a change. It's
Moraine's got 30.
Moraine got 30, yeah, because he's actually got. No, I'm afraid to say, Kevin, that you didn't make it there. So yes, it was.
I beat Moraine. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, and even if we take all those beautiful hints about it depends from Sarah, she still would have won. I'm afraid you guys were obviously impressed with her speech and things. And Moraine, you are still in your prize position of your golf score.
Exactly. Once more, I'm the first one if you use golf scores. Exactly.
Yes. That's cool. And now we have a regular -6 on Moraine, because we know that he likes to be last and get the value from it. So there you go.
A handicap.
A handicap. Exactly. Yes, he is definitely got a handicap. It's usually me within the podcast. Actually, we should also quote that wonderful quote we had on our last podcast, Moraine, because I just think that was awesome. Somebody sat there and said to you that.
Oh, yes. So we have a listener. I don't know who it is. Left 2 comments on our last podcast. The first comment was from the two episodes ago that he or she turned it off after 15 minutes because it was just 2 random dudes talking about their week. So it was kind of boring. And then last episode where we did the battle of the intranets, where things got quite heated between us. He or she made a comment saying that the older guy needs to pipe down a little bit.
The English guy.
The English guy.
I was going to say, did they say which one was he thought that was the older one?
No, the English guy, exactly. He needed to pipe down a little. Yes.
Awesome.
I thought that was very funny, so I immediately published it, of course.
Yeah, no, absolutely did. Okay, guys, Sarah, thank you for joining us. Will you come back again?
Definitely, as long as I can have a rematch.
Okay, win. Yeah, rematch. You don't need the rematch. Yeah, we'll do that as soon as we'll give you a call in. And Kevin, it was great to see you. What is that jacket on the door, by the way?
That is my co-pilot. Oh, I've lost the hat. Hang on.
Oh, it's your co-pilot and chill outfit.
It is,
okay, yes.
So it has the pilot outfit, but of course I was the Viva Goals co-pilot. And what says goals more than these fabulous Liverpool players there?
Okay, yes. All right. I'm not going to go there.
Football joke for everyone.
Football joke. Yeah, no, Moraine, just smile and go, oh, yeah.
I have to ask, is that why your co-pilot connection hoodie is the colour it is?
No, it's
to the...
It's because we had to get it quickly in time for the MVP summit, and there was only 3 colours, and I didn't want black or blue. So, yeah, sadly, the hot pink wouldn't arrive in time.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, guys, and I'm sure that we'll see you back again. Kevin, it was a pleasure, my friend, and yes, we'll be in there. So here we go. How will you protect your data and present unauthorization? We had some good feedback from our users there. Kevin was talking about passwords. They're old-fashioned. They don't need it anymore. Yeah, get those other areas. Sarah, of course, we had a fabulous presentation. Build on understanding of the problem areas. So with your resources and with your monitoring, understand where your strengths and weaknesses are. Moraine, this wonderful quote from his friend Lenin that says, basically trust everybody and don't do any security. That's not really what he said, but, that's kind of what he meant. But it was fun. We hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, so this is saying goodbye from this episode of It.